Hello friends, it's the Stitches. I think this is the longest I've gone in between videos, so oops. But I'm back now, and I am currently getting ready for a massive shop update. So as this video goes live, that should also be going live. And this time around, I'm not just launching new items, but also completely changing the look and feel of the shop itself. No, computer, I don't want to update. Now can I record my audio? Thank you. Oh. I need a new chair. If you missed my last several updates, I put everything that was in the shop on clearance and sold off as much as I could. And then after the clearance sale ended, I closed the shop and have been working on the redesign ever since. But now all of my new stock is ready and prepared, and the website has been redesigned, so now it's time to actually list everything and launch. I have 3 products that I'm going to launch with, 2 of which are completely new, and 1 of which is a reprint of an older mini zine. I have a few other things that I'm working on as well, but these are the items that I actually have ready to go right now. Altogether, I'll have 1 full-size zine, 1 mini zine, and 1 sticker design. And this is the first time I've ever had vinyl stickers printed. I was a little bit nervous about that process, but I'm really pleased with how they turned out. Like I said in my last video, even though that was like 6 months ago, I'm going in like a whole new direction with my art and writing style. So I'm incredibly anxious to release all of this new stuff. But I also haven't felt this excited about art and the future of my shop in a long time. I probably haven't been this excited about my shop since I started writing zines in 2016. So there's that. I'm going to turn this over to Past Me now, and I'm going to show you a little bit of the process of creating everything for the shop and getting it ready. So transition card. So first I'm going to show you how I made my first full-size zine in several years. That's something I don't like to think about. I wrote the story portion for this a long time ago, but I never really planned on doing anything with it, since it didn't really fit the aesthetic of the projects I was working on at the time. But that is no longer the case anymore. It's a really short horror vignette about food, and I think that's all I really want to give away for now. So initially I drew the art in a sketchbook with micron pens, and then I scanned the images and cleaned everything up in Procreate. I also used Procreate to build the layout of my zine, which is something I'd never done before since I didn't own an iPad the last time I was doing this. It made the process really quick and easy, since I could move things around and fiddle with the size of the text right in the app. It also helped that I had already drawn out a rough sketch of the layout on paper first, so I already knew which page each block of text and each image needed to go on ahead of time. That's something I like to do for all of my zines because I just find that it helps so much to visualize how many pages there are going to be, how many sheets of paper it's going to print out on, and it simplifies the layout process just so much. Once the layout was finished, I was ready to move on to printing. Usually I make zines with a cardstock cover, and I still had some cardstock left over from previous zines, but I really specifically wanted a bright red cover for this particular story, and I couldn't find anything like what I wanted locally, so I ended up having to order this online. I'm so glad I did though, even if I have a huge pack of it now, because the cover came out gorgeous, and I'm so happy with how this artwork came out on top of this rich red color. In addition to some cardstock, I also bought this nifty little stapler. I was looking into a long arm stapler, but they were more than I wanted to spend, and they just take up so much space. So I really wasn't sure about buying one, but then I found this little guy. The part of it that holds the staples actually swivels, so while it only takes up the same amount of drawer space as a regular stapler, it has a similar reach as a long arm stapler. So now I'm able to make full-size zines like this, and I no longer have to sew them together for a binding, which saves me a lot of time. And then I also printed and folded a run of a mini zine that I originally released in 2017. It was pretty popular back then, but a couple years after I released it, I decided to just let it go out of stock and retire it. but I think it really fits in with the work I'm making right now, so I've brought it back for a run or two and we'll see how it goes. Mini zines are really simple for me to print and fold large batches of, so I can usually price them really affordably. And they tend to be really popular items because of that, so I want to make a few more of them to put in the shop soon, but we'll see what actually manages to come out of my brain.
And now it's time for a quick commercial break.
Now let's move on from zines for a moment. I'd been playing around with the idea for this swan design for a couple years now. If you recall, in one of my older videos, I made a patch with a similar piece of artwork and the same text, which is obviously a reference to the Ugly Duckling fairy tale. So I really wanted to make a more polished and better version of the swan design to have it printed into stickers. Eventually, I also want to make some pin back buttons as well, but I'm still out of blanks at the moment, so I'll start with stickers. In addition to the swan design, I also really wanted to get some of these little teeny tiny knives printed as little 1-inch stickers. So if you decide to buy the zine that this art is associated with in the shop, there will be an option to get the zine by itself, or you can get it as a zine and sticker set. I've only got a very small quantity of the knife stickers, so it will be a limited upgrade, and once I'm out of them, I don't think I'll be getting any more. I was really nervous to get these printed because, as I said, this was my first time ever ordering vinyl stickers from a manufacturer. I managed to find a small business that made everything in-house for reasonable prices and no minimum order quantity, so I wouldn't be stuck with like 100 of one design. When they finally arrived, I was so pleased by how they came out. These designs were exactly what I was envisioning, and I will absolutely be getting more stickers printed as I make more designs in the future. At this point, all of my stock for my shop update was ready to go, so I just needed to take some product photos. In the past, I would use a lot of decoration for my shop photos, but this time around, I really wanted to keep things simple and let the products shine on their own. I can always take more product photos later if I feel like these are too plain. After adjusting the photos in the Lightroom app on my tablet, I was ready to redesign the shop and create my listings. So just quickly scrolling through, this is what it will look like when it's released. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I also used a website that allows you to make your own fonts really easily, and so I'm using my own custom fonts in the new shop design, and I am very happy with that. It tickles my brain in a way that I can't quite describe. And with that, I will turn it back over to present day me. Alright friends, I hope that this was a fun and interesting vlog for you to watch. A link to my shop, Soft Sugar, will be in the description, and I want to make it clear that I'm not pressuring anybody to buy anything. In fact, if you've watched this far into the video, then you've already done wonders for supporting me. But at some point, I was scrolling through like my older videos back in like 2018, and I used to post a lot more art and zine content. Art and zines used to be a much bigger part of my channel, and I really want to bring those types of videos back. I knew I was experiencing burnout and art block, and I knew that it started somewhere around 2019, but it just got so much harder to just sit down and draw or write. And there were several factors that contributed to that, but I'm in a place now where I do actually feel excited to do just that. I already have a couple pretty solid ideas for some horror shorts that may or may not become zines in the future. It just sort of depends on how they turn out. One of them requires a lot of research, which is not something I typically have to do for fiction writing, but I don't want to give any spoilers. The more I talk about a project before it's done, the less inclined I am to actually follow through and finish it. That's just like a psychological thing that most people have. And I really want to write this and finish it and make art for it. So I'm keeping it under lock and key because it's a zine that I actually really want to make. But I also kind of want to try to get a few pieces submitted to some literary magazines at some point. So we shall see what the future holds. But that is all I have for you today. Please feel free to check out Soft Sugar. If you want faster updates for future drops, then you should follow Soft Sugar on Instagram. And with that, I hope everybody has a good day, and I will see you all next time. Bye!